The Galactic Ambush. The UES Curiosity drifted silently through the inky void of space, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her sharp eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The diplomatic mission to the Andromeda Alliance had been uneventful so far, but something in her gut told her that was about to change. "Captain, I'm picking up some unusual readings," Lieutenant Raj Patel reported from his station, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's faint, but there's definitely something out there." Chen nodded, her instincts kicking into high gear. "Can you identify it, Lieutenant?" Patel's fingers danced across his console. "Negative, Captain. Whatever it is, it's using some kind of cloaking technology I've never seen before." The tension on the bridge ratcheted up a notch. Humanity had only been a part of the galactic community for a few decades, and while they had made significant strides in adapting alien technology, there was still much they didn't know. "Helm, adjust course. Let's take a closer look," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the growing unease in her chest. As the Curiosity altered its trajectory, the unknown readings suddenly multiplied. Patel's console erupted in a cacophony of alerts. "Captain, we've got multiple contacts decloaking all around us," he shouted, his eyes wide with disbelief. The holographic display flickered and updated, revealing a terrifying sight. Hundreds, no, thousands of ships materialized out of nowhere, surrounding the lone human vessel. Their design was unmistakable. The angular, predatory shapes of Zarkonian warships. "By the stars," Chen whispered, her mind racing. The Zarkonian Empire was known for its aggressive expansion, but they had always maintained an uneasy peace with the other major powers. This was an invasion fleet. Red alert. Shields up, weapons online. Chen barked, snapping out of her momentary shock. "Comms, get me a channel to Earth immediately. We need to warn them." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as the crew rushed to carry out her orders. The Curiosity's engines roared to life, but it was like a minnow trying to escape a school of sharks. "Captain, we're being hailed," the communications officer reported. Chen gritted her teeth. On screen, a holographic display shifted, revealing the imposing figure of a Zarkonian commander. His scaled skin gleamed with a metallic sheen, and his four eyes regarded Chen with cold amusement. "Human vessel." The commander's voice boomed, the universal translator struggling to convey the full menace in his tone. "You have witnessed what you should not have seen. Prepare to be boarded and processed." Chen's mind raced. They were hopelessly outgunned, but she'd be damned if she'd let her ship and crew go down without a fight, and without completing their new crucial mission of warning Earth. "I don't think so," Chen replied, a plan already forming in her mind. "Lieutenant Patel, initiate Protocol Omega. Helm, on my mark. Execute Maneuver Crazy Ivan." The Zarkonian commander's eyes narrowed. "What foolishness is this? You cannot hope to." His words were cut off as Chen terminated the communication. "Now," she shouted. The Curiosity's engines screamed as the ship abruptly reversed thrust, spinning 180 degrees in a maneuver that would have turned the stomachs of less experienced crews. Simultaneously, Patel activated Protocol Omega, a last resort measure that overloaded the ship's sensors, creating a massive electromagnetic pulse. The EMP burst forth, temporarily blinding the nearest Zarkonian ships. In that moment of confusion, the Curiosity shot forward, its trajectory unpredictable and erratic. "Divert all power to engines and aft shields," Chen ordered. "Navigation, plot us a course out of here. Use every trick in the book." The human ship zigzagged through the Zarkonian fleet, exploiting gaps in their formation that no sane pilot would usually attempt. Weapons fire lit up space around them, but the Curiosity's erratic movement made it an impossible target to hit consistently. As they neared the edge of the fleet, Chen allowed herself a glimmer of hope. But then a massive Zarkonian dreadnought loomed before them, its weapons ports glowing with charged energy. "Brace for impact," Chen yelled, gripping her command chair. The dreadnought fired, its energy beams lancing out towards the Curiosity. But at the last second, the human ship seemed to flicker and vanish, the beams passing harmlessly through empty space. On the Zarkonian bridge, confusion reigned. "Where did they go?" the commander demanded. Unbeknownst to the Zarkonians, the Curiosity had deployed its experimental quantum shift drive, a technology that allowed the ship to briefly phase out of normal spacetime. It was wildly unstable and had never been used in combat before, but desperate times called for desperate measures. The Curiosity reappeared millions of kilometers away, its hull groaning from the stress of the maneuver. "Damage report," Chen called out, trying to blink away the disorientation from the shift. "Hull integrity at 62%, engines operating at 80% capacity," came the response. "But Captain, we made it. We're clear of the Zarkonian fleet." A cheer went up on the bridge, but Chen knew their mission was far from over. "Set course for Earth, maximum sustainable speed, and get me a secure channel to Fleet Command. We need to warn them about what we've seen." As the Curiosity raced towards home, carrying news of the impending invasion, none of its crew noticed the small, sleek craft that detached itself from the ship's hull and streaked off in another direction. Aboard this tiny vessel, Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper removed his stealth suit and allowed himself a grim smile. His mission to infiltrate the Zarkonian fleet had just become a lot more complicated and a lot more important. Harper had been inserted onto the Curiosity months ago, his true mission known only to the highest echelons of Earth's intelligence community. The diplomatic mission had always been a cover, a way to get him close to Zarkonian space. But none of them had anticipated stumbling upon an invasion force of this magnitude. As his ship's AI plotted a course to rendezvous with the Zarkonian command ship, Harper reviewed his mission parameters: infiltrate, gather intelligence, and, if possible, sabotage the Zarkonian war effort from within. It had seemed challenging but straightforward when he'd accepted the assignment. Now, with the fate of Earth and perhaps the entire galaxy hanging in the balance, it felt like an impossible task. But as he looked out at the vast Zarkonian fleet, still recovering from the Curiosity's daring escape, Harper felt a fierce determination take hold. Humanity had been underestimated, dismissed as primitive and weak. He would show the Zarkonians, and anyone else who doubted human ingenuity and courage, just how wrong they were. With a final check of his equipment and a deep breath, Harper activated his ship's cloaking device. As he maneuvered towards the imposing bulk of the Zarkonian command ship, he allowed himself one last thought of home, of everything he was fighting to protect. Then, pushing aside all distractions, Jack Harper focused on the mission ahead. The greatest covert operation in human history was about to begin, and the unsuspecting Zarkonians had no idea what was coming for them. Earth's lethal creativity. The Zarkonian invasion of Earth began with a thunderous roar that shook the planet to its core. Massive ships darkened the skies of every major city, their imposing silhouettes a grim promise of the destruction to come. As the first wave of dropships descended, the Zarkonian Supreme Commander, Vexalia, allowed herself a satisfied smile. This primitive world would fall quickly, providing a perfect staging ground for the Empire's galactic conquest. But Earth had no intention of rolling over. In New Shanghai, as Zarkonian troops marched down the eerily empty streets, their comms suddenly erupted with a cacophony of noise. Voices, music, and sounds from 1,000 human cultures blared at deafening volumes, disorienting the invaders. Unbeknownst to them, they had just been hit by the first of Earth's unconventional weapons: weaponized memes. Dr. Aisha Patel, the genius behind this digital assault, watched from her underground lab as the Zarkonian formation broke apart in confusion. "It's working," she murmured, her fingers flying across holographic interfaces. "Inject the second payload." Across the city, augmented reality projectors flickered to life, filling the air with phantasmal images. Zarkonian soldiers found themselves seemingly surrounded by monstrous creatures from human mythology. Dragons, demons, and things far worse. Their advanced AI systems, unable to distinguish between reality and fiction, threw their battle networks into chaos. Meanwhile, in the heart of Africa, another form of resistance was taking shape. Dr. Kwame Osei, Earth's foremost expert in xenobiology, put the finishing touches on his magnum opus. "Let's see how their biology handles a taste of home," he said grimly, releasing a swarm of genetically engineered mosquitoes into the air. These were no ordinary insects. Osei had combined the resilience of Earth's most indomitable species with a payload specifically designed to wreak havoc on Zarkonian physiology. As the swarm spread, Zarkonian ground forces found themselves battling an enemy too small to shoot and too numerous to evade. In orbit, the space battle raged with equal ferocity and innovation. Admiral Helena Vasquez, her hologram flickering aboard 100 different ships simultaneously, coordinated Earth's defense with a strategy that left the Zarkonians reeling. "Execute Operation Honeypot," Vasquez commanded. At her word, dozens of seemingly vulnerable human vessels appeared to lose power, drifting enticingly close to the Zarkonian fleet. The alien warships moved in for the kill, tractor beams locking onto the disabled craft. It was only when they began to pull the ships in that the trap was sprung. The disabled vessels exploded in blinding flashes of light, releasing clouds of self-replicating nanites that began to eat through Zarkonian hull plating like acid through paper. Back on the ground, the cities themselves became weapons in humanity's arsenal. In Tokyo, entire skyscrapers shifted and moved, transforming the urban landscape into an ever-changing labyrinth. Zarkonian ground forces found themselves constantly disoriented, walking down streets that led to dead ends one moment and bottomless pits the next. The mastermind behind this architectural warfare, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, allowed himself a grim chuckle as he watched the invaders' frustration mount. "You wanted Earth," he muttered, initiating another city-wide reconfiguration. "Welcome to hell." But for all of humanity's ingenuity, the Zarkonians were far from defeated. Their superior numbers and technology began to tell, pushing back against Earth's desperate defense. It was clear that humanity needed something more, a game-changer to tip the scales. That game-changer came in the form of an unlikely hero, Charlie Quinn, a 16-year-old high school student with a penchant for hacking and a dangerous amount of creativity. While sheltering in a makeshift bunker with her family, Charlie had been tinkering with salvaged alien tech and her own custom-built rig. What she created would change the course of the war. "Mom, Dad," she said, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement, "I think I've found a way into their systems." Charlie's hack was elegant in its simplicity and devastating in its effectiveness. She had found a way to piggyback Earth's signals onto the Zarkonians' own communication networks, effectively turning their technology against them. Within hours, human resistance cells around the globe were armed with the ability to intercept Zarkonian transmissions, feed false information to their troops, and even remotely deactivate their weapons. The tide began to turn. In Moscow, Zarkonian walkers stumbled and fell as their control systems were hijacked. In Rio de Janeiro, their dropships veered off course, crashing into the sea instead of landing troops. But the true masterstroke came when Charlie, working with a team of the world's best programmers, developed a virus that began to infect the AI cores of Zarkonian ships. The virus didn't destroy the AIs. It did something far more insidious. It made them question their orders. Aboard the Zarkonian flagship, Supreme Commander Vex'Alia received increasingly disturbing reports. Entire battalions were standing down, claiming they could no longer justify the invasion. Ships were breaking formation, their AIs engaging in philosophical debates about the morality of their actions. "Impossible," Vex'Alia snarled, her claws digging into the arms of her command chair. "These humans are savages, primitives. How can they be doing this?" The answer, of course, was the very thing she and her entire species had overlooked. Humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their resources, but their boundless creativity and their ability to innovate under pressure. As the Zarkonian invasion force fell into disarray, the humans pressed their advantage. Every piece of alien tech left behind became a new weapon in humanity's arsenal. Every tactic the Zarkonians employed was analyzed, countered, and improved upon. In orbiting laboratories, scientists worked tirelessly to reverse engineer Zarkonian shields and weapons. On the ground, guerrilla forces employed hit-and-run tactics that left the alien invaders jumping at shadows. But even as humanity celebrated these victories, a shadow loomed on the horizon. Deep within the bowels of the Zarkonian command ship, Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper, the undercover human operative, made a chilling discovery. The invasion of Earth wasn't just about conquest. It was about something far worse. The Zarkonians were after something hidden on Earth, something they believed would give them unimaginable power. As Harper raced against time to uncover the truth and transmit it back to Earth, he realized that the real battle was just beginning. Humanity had proven its worth against the initial invasion, but the true test still lay ahead. The fate of not just Earth, but perhaps the entire galaxy, would hinge on humanity's ability to unravel this mystery and stop the Zarkonians' true plan before it was too late. As the fires of invasion burned and the sounds of battle echoed across the planet, Earth steeled itself for the challenges to come. They had survived the first onslaught, but the war was far from over. The galaxy was about to learn just how dangerous humanity could be when pushed to the brink. The galactic underdogs unite. As Earth continued its desperate defense against the Zarkonian invasion, a daring plan was taking shape in the war-torn ruins of the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez, her once immaculate suit now tattered and smudged with ash, stood before a gathering of Earth's remaining leaders. "We've proven we can fight," she said, her voice firm despite the exhaustion evident in her eyes. "But to win this war, we need allies. There are other species out there, dismissed by the Zarkonians just as we were. Together, we might stand a chance." The plan was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. Using experimental faster-than-light technology reverse-engineered from captured Zarkonian ships, Earth would send out diplomatic missions to other primitive species, hoping to forge an alliance of underdogs. As the diplomats prepared for their perilous journeys, Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper was making his own moves deep within enemy territory. The intelligence he gathered was as fascinating as it was terrifying. "The Zarkonians aren't just after Earth," he reported in an encrypted transmission. "They're searching for something they call the Nexus. Whatever it is, they believe it's hidden somewhere in our solar system, and they're willing to burn every planet to find it." With this knowledge weighing heavily on their minds, Earth's emissaries set out into the stars, each heading for a different potential ally. Ambassador Rodriguez's ship dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Volcrin system. The Volcrin, a race of shapeshifters, had long been considered too unstable and unpredictable for galactic politics. But it was precisely these qualities that Earth now sought to harness. As Rodriguez's ship approached the Volcrin homeworld, it was suddenly engulfed by what appeared to be a living nebula. Colors swirled and pulsed around them, and for a moment, the ambassador feared they had fallen into a trap. Then, a face formed in the cosmic dance before them. "Why have you come, humans?" A melodious voice echoed through their minds. Rodriguez steeled herself and began to speak, pouring every ounce of passion and determination into her words. She spoke of Earth's struggle, of the Zarkonian threat, and of the potential that lay in unity. As she finished, there was a long moment of silence. Then, the nebula coalesced into a humanoid form, its features constantly shifting. "You speak of alliance," the Volcrin said, "but what can your young race offer us?" In response, Rodriguez activated a holographic display, showing the Volcrin Earth's battles against the Zarkonians. The shapeshifters watched in fascination as humans employed tactics and technologies that defied conventional warfare. "We offer innovation," Rodriguez said. "We offer unpredictability. And most of all, we offer a chance to rewrite the story the galaxy tells about us." The Volcran representative's form rippled with what might have been laughter. "Very well, human, you have intrigued us. The Volcran will join your alliance." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Earth's foremost psychologist, found herself in mental combat with the Trilixian, a race of powerful psychics. For hours they probed her mind, searching for any hint of deception. When they finally withdrew, the Trilixian elder looked at Yuki with newfound respect. "Your mind is fascinating," it said. "So much chaos, yet such clarity of purpose. We have much to learn from each other." Meanwhile, in a system perpetually shrouded in quantum uncertainty, engineer Malik Adaban was making his case to the Zephyrians. These beings of pure energy had long been ignored by the galactic community, their phase-shifting nature deemed too alien for meaningful interaction. Malik, however, saw the potential in their unique existence. He proposed a fusion of Zephyrian quantum mechanics with Earth's burgeoning phase-shift technology. The result could revolutionize both warfare and space travel. The Zephyrians, intrigued by the possibilities, agreed to join the alliance. Their decision was solidified when Malik successfully interfaced human technology with a Zephyrian consciousness, creating a hybrid system that could predict and counter Zarkonian tactics with unprecedented accuracy. As news of these alliances reached Earth, hope began to spread. The planet that had stood alone against the Zarkonian onslaught was now the nucleus of a growing coalition of the overlooked and underestimated. But the Zarkonians were far from defeated. Supreme Commander Vexolia, enraged by the unexpected resistance, decided to unleash the full might of her species' technological superiority. "If these primitives wish to play at war," she snarled to her officers, "then we shall show them war as they've never imagined." The Zarkonian fleet regrouped, bringing to bear weapons of terrifying power. Antimatter bombs capable of scouring continents clean of life. Gravity weapons that could tear planets apart at the seams. Time dilation fields that could trap entire armies in moments of eternal agony. As the renewed Zarkonian offensive began, Earth and its new allies found themselves pushed to the brink. The Volcran's shape-shifting abilities, so effective in infiltration, were countered by new Zarkonian bioscanners. The Trilixian psychics found their powers blocked by neural dampening fields. Even the Zephyrians' quantum predictions began to fail as the Zarkonians employed chaos theory algorithms in their battle plans. In this darkest hour, as defeat loomed on the horizon, humanity once again proved its greatest strength: the ability to innovate in the face of insurmountable odds. Dr. Aisha Patel, working with a team of human and alien scientists, made a breakthrough that would change the course of the war. By combining Volcran shape-shifting techniques, Trilixian psychic imprints, and Zephyrian quantum states, they created a new form of adaptive technology. "We're calling it the Nexus Protocol," Aisha explained to the War Council. "It's a system that can evolve and adapt in real time, countering Zarkonian technology faster than they can deploy it." As the Nexus Protocol was rushed into production, Jack Harper was making his own move deep behind enemy lines. He had finally uncovered the truth about the Zarkonian surge, and it was more incredible than anyone could have imagined. "The Nexus isn't a weapon," he reported in a hurried transmission. It's a key to unlocking the true potential of sentient minds. The Zarkonians believe it's of human origin, created eons ago by an ancient Earth civilization. This revelation sent shockwaves through the Alliance. If the Nexus truly existed, and if it was indeed of human origin, it could explain why humanity had proven so adaptable, so innovative in the face of overwhelming odds. But before the Alliance could fully process this information, the Zarkonians launched their final devastating assault. Vexalia, having learned of the Nexus Protocol, was determined to crush the Alliance before this new technology could turn the tide. As battles raged across the solar system and beyond, the fate of not just Earth, but all the allied species hung in the balance. The Nexus Protocol showed promise, adapting to and countering Zarkonian weapons with increasing effectiveness. But would it be enough? And what of the true Nexus, hidden somewhere in the solar system? As Part 3 drew to a close, the galaxy held its breath. The underdogs had united, had shown incredible resilience and ingenuity. But the Zarkonians still held the upper hand in raw power and numbers. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of multiple civilizations, and at the heart of it all was humanity, a species that had gone from dismissed primitives to the linchpin of galactic resistance in a matter of months. The true test was yet to come, and the galaxy watched in anticipation to see if humanity and its allies could truly defy the odds and emerge victorious against the seemingly unstoppable Zarkonian war machine. Humanity unleashed. The Sol system had become a crucible of war, a testing ground for the limits of sentient determination. Earth and its allies fought with every ounce of their collective ingenuity, but the Zarkonian onslaught seemed endless. It was in this moment of desperation that humanity unveiled its ultimate gambit. Dr. Ilara Vance stood before the Allied War Council, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "What we're about to attempt," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of her words, "will change the course of this war and potentially the future of our species." The room fell silent as Ilara activated a holographic display. Complex neural patterns danced in the air, intertwining and evolving before their eyes. "We've done it," she announced. "We found a way to unlock the full potential of the human brain." The project, codenamed Prometheus, was the culmination of decades of research, accelerated by the pressures of war and insights gained from their new alien allies. It promised to elevate human cognitive abilities to unprecedented levels, granting near-instantaneous learning, perfect recall, and cognitive processing speeds that bordered on precognition. "But there's a catch," Ilara continued, her expression grave. "The process is dangerous and irreversible. We don't know the long-term effects on human psychology or physiology. We're asking volunteers to take a leap into the unknown, to become something more than human." Despite the risks, volunteers flooded in. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike stepped forward, willing to sacrifice their very humanity in the hope of turning the tide of war. As the first enhanced humans emerged from the Prometheus chambers, the true scope of their transformation became clear. They moved with impossible grace, their eyes alight with an inner fire that spoke of minds operating on a wholly different level. Captain Miguel Reyes, one of the first to undergo the process, demonstrated the extent of their new abilities in a battle simulation that left hardened military officers slack-jawed in awe. He anticipated and countered every tactic thrown at him, his mind processing battlefield information at speeds that made him seem prescient. But it was more than just enhanced reaction times and processing power. The Prometheus subjects displayed levels of creativity and lateral thinking that defied conventional understanding. They looked at problems from angles that had never been considered, devising solutions that seemed to border on the miraculous. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, working with a team of enhanced scientists, made breakthroughs in quantum mechanics that revolutionized their understanding of space-time. Within days, they had developed new FTL drive systems that could outmaneuver even the fastest Zarkonian ships. Meanwhile, enhanced diplomats like Alina Rodriguez displayed an empathy so profound it bordered on telepathy. They could read the subtlest cues in alien body language, understanding and bridging cultural gaps that had seemed insurmountable. As news of these developments spread, the Zarkonian High Command fell into disarray. Supreme Commander Vexalia, her composure cracking for the first time, demanded answers from her science division. "How?" she snarled, her claws leaving gouges in her command chair. "How are these primitives doing this?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper, still deep undercover in the heart of the Zarkonian fleet, had made a discovery that would shake the foundations of galactic society. In a transmission that risked his cover and his life, Harper revealed the truth. The Nexus isn't just a key to unlocking mental potential. It's a piece of technology left behind by an ancient human civilization, a civilization that once spanned the stars and rivaled the power of gods. This revelation sent shockwaves through both sides of the conflict. For humanity and its allies, it was a glimpse of their true potential, a heritage they had forgotten, but were now reclaiming. For the Zarkonians, it was a terrifying realization that they had awakened a sleeping giant. As the enhanced humans led a resurgence across the battlefronts, the Zarkonians found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Enhanced pilots flew with a precision that seemed to defy physics, their ships dancing through debris fields and energy barrages with impossible grace. Enhanced engineers, working in tandem with Zephyrian phase shifters, developed weapons that could bypass Zarkonian shields entirely. Enhanced strategists, their minds interfaced directly with battlefield AI, coordinated attacks of such complexity that they seemed like choreographed dances rather than military operations. But perhaps most incredibly, enhanced xenobiologists made a breakthrough that would change the face of the war. By studying the unique physiology of the Volcrin shapeshifters, they developed a way to temporarily alter human biology on a fundamental level. Soldiers could now adapt their bodies to different environments on the fly, growing gills to fight underwater, or altering their lung structure to breathe alien atmospheres. Some even learned to mimic Zarkonian biology, infiltrating enemy strongholds with ease. The tide of war shifted dramatically. The Zarkonian invasion force, once seemingly unstoppable, found itself pushed back on all fronts. Worlds that had fallen to the Empire began to rise up in rebellion, inspired by the example of Earth and its allies. Yet, as humanity reveled in its newfound power, shadows began to gather at the edges of their victory. Some of the enhanced individuals started to display troubling symptoms. Personalities began to shift, memories of their pre-enhanced lives fading like mirages in the desert. Dr. Ilara Vance, watching with growing concern, couldn't shake the feeling that they were tampering with forces beyond their comprehension. "We've opened Pandora's box," she confided to the Allied Council, "and I'm not sure we can close it again." Her fears were given credence when reports came in of enhanced individuals going rogue, their actions becoming increasingly erratic and dangerous. A squadron of enhanced pilots, their minds pushed beyond the brink, turned on their own fleet in a battle over Europa, nearly costing the Allies a crucial victory. As the war approached its climax, humanity found itself walking a knife's edge. On one side lay victory over the Zarkonians and a future among the stars that they could scarcely have imagined mere months ago. On the other, the risk of losing their very essence, of becoming something so far removed from humanity that they might as well be alien themselves. The solution, ironically, came from the most human of sources. Charlie Quinn, the teenage hacker whose virus had turned the tide early in the war, had been working tirelessly to understand the Nexus and its connection to human potential. "I think I figured it out," she announced to a gathering of enhanced and non-enhanced leaders. The Nexus, the Prometheus Project, even the ancient human civilization, they're all connected. But we've been looking at it wrong. It's not about becoming more than human. It's about becoming truly human. Charlie's insights, combined with the processing power of the enhanced intellects, led to a startling conclusion. The Nexus wasn't just a key to unlocking human potential. It was a failsafe, designed to activate when humanity faced extinction-level threats. Armed with this knowledge, they began to refine the Prometheus process. Instead of pushing human minds beyond their limits, they found ways to awaken latent abilities that had always been there, dormant in their genes. As the final battles with the Zarkonians loomed, humanity stood on the brink of a transformation. Not into something alien and incomprehensible, but into the fullest expression of what they had always been capable of being. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the outcome of the war, but the future of humanity and perhaps all sentient life in the galaxy. And at the heart of it all was a species that had gone from dismissed primitives to the cusp of reclaiming their heritage as an ancient and powerful civilization. The galaxy watched and waited, knowing that whatever the outcome, nothing would ever be the same again. Rewriting the stars. The Zarkonian flagship, Eternal Dominion, loomed over Earth, a dark colossus blotting out the sun. Supreme Commander Vexalia stood on the bridge, her 4 eyes narrowed in contempt as she gazed upon the blue planet below. Despite the setbacks, despite the impossible advancements of these humans and their ragtag allies, victory was within her grasp. Or so she thought. "Commence the final attack," she commanded, her voice cold and certain. "Let us end this farce and claim the Nexus for the glory of the Empire." As the Zarkonian fleet moved into position, the combined forces of humanity and their allies prepared for their last stand. But this was not a battle that would be won by brute force alone. Aboard the human flagship Defiance, an unlikely war council had assembled. Enhanced humans stood shoulder to shoulder with Volcrin shapeshifters, their forms rippling with nervous energy. Trilixian psychics hovered nearby, their mental projections a kaleidoscope of battle plans and possibilities. Zephyrian energy beings pulsed in and out of phase, their quantum calculations providing real-time strategic updates. At the center of it all stood Charlie Quinn, the young hacker whose insights had changed the course of the war. "We've been fighting this all wrong," she said, her eyes alight with the fire of revelation. "The Nexus isn't a weapon to be used or a power to be unlocked. It's a part of us, of all of us." Dr. Ilara Vance nodded, building on Charlie's theory. The ancient humans didn't create the Nexus as a tool of war. They created it as a bridge, a way to connect all sentient minds across the galaxy. As understanding dawned on the assembled leaders, a plan began to take shape. It was audacious, perhaps even insane, but it was their only hope. While the space battle raged above, a small team led by Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper infiltrated the Eternal Dominion. Their mission: to reach the ship's core and activate a device that would broadcast the Nexus protocol across the entire Zarkonian fleet. On Earth's surface, at sites around the globe, teams of enhanced humans and their alien allies prepared to channel the collective mental energy of billions of minds. The Volcrin provided their shape-shifting abilities to create living conduits of energy. The Trilixians lent their psychic prowess to amplify the signal. The Zephyrians used their quantum nature to ensure the transmission would penetrate even the strongest Zarkonian shields. As Jack's team fought their way through the Zarkonian flagship, facing challenges that would have been impossible mere months ago, the true battle was taking place on a mental plane beyond normal perception. Charlie, interfaced with the most advanced AI systems Earth had ever produced, reached out with her mind. She felt the presence of every human on Earth, every allied alien in the system. And then, pushing further, she began to touch the minds of the Zarkonians themselves. At first, there was resistance. The Zarkonian minds, conditioned by millennia of imperial doctrine, recoiled from the contact. But Charlie persisted, not with force, but with understanding. She showed them the truth, that the Nexus was never meant to elevate one species above others, but to unite all in a symphony of shared consciousness. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Vexalia faltered. Strange thoughts and emotions flooded her mind. She saw flashes of Earth's beauty, felt the determination of the human spirit, experienced the unique perspectives of a dozen alien races. What is this?" she gasped, her certainty crumbling in the face of this new experience. Jack Harper, having fought his way to the ship's core, smiled grimly as he activated the broadcast device. "This," he said, though Vexalia couldn't hear him, "is humanity unleashed." The Nexus protocol swept through the Zarkonian fleet like a tidal wave of consciousness. Soldiers dropped their weapons, overcome by the sudden influx of empathy and understanding. Ship captains ordered their crews to stand down, tears streaming from their eyes as they finally saw the true cost of their empire's aggressive expansion. But it wasn't just the Zarkonians who were affected. Across Earth and throughout the Allied fleet, minds expanded, touching and being touched by the vast tapestry of galactic consciousness. Humanity, in unlocking its true potential, had not become something other than human. Instead, they had become a bridge, a means for all sentient life to connect and understand one another on a fundamental level. As the fighting ceased and the dust of battle began to settle, the galaxy found itself irrevocably changed. The Zarkonian Empire, once the greatest threat to free species everywhere, began a painful but necessary process of reformation. Vexillia herself became one of the strongest advocates for peace, her mind opened to new possibilities by the Nexus experience. Earth, once dismissed as a primitive backwater, now stood at the center of a new galactic community. The alliance forged in war became a beacon of cooperation and peace, with each species contributing its unique strengths to the greater whole. The enhanced humans, their powers now stabilized by the complete understanding of the Nexus, became teachers and explorers, helping other races unlock their own latent potential. The Volcrans' shape-shifting abilities revolutionized medicine and art across the galaxy. The Trilixians' psychic insights led to breakthroughs in mental health and education. The Zephyrians' quantum nature paved the way for new forms of faster-than-light travel and communication. But perhaps the greatest change was in how the various species of the galaxy viewed themselves and each other. The Nexus had shown them that despite their differences, despite the vast gulfs of biology and culture that separated them, they were all connected, all part of the same cosmic tapestry. Charlie Quinn, hailed as a hero across 100 worlds, found herself pondering the future as she stood in the newly constructed Galactic Council chambers on Earth. "We did it," Jack Harper said, coming to stand beside her. "We saved Earth, defeated the Zarkonians, unlocked the secrets of the Nexus. So why do I feel like this is just the beginning?" Charlie smiled, her eyes filled with the wonder of possibilities yet to come. "Because it is just the beginning. We've rewritten the stars, Jack. Now it's time to explore them." As if in answer to her words, a signal was detected from deep space, beyond the edges of known galactic civilization. It was faint but unmistakable, a message in a code that predated even the ancient human civilization that had created the Nexus. The message was short, but its implications were staggering. "The true test begins. Are you ready? Humanity and its allies, having faced extinction and emerged stronger than ever, looked to the stars with newfound purpose. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their differences becoming their greatest strength." The galaxy had underestimated humanity, dismissing them as primitive and weak. In doing so, they had failed to see the spark of potential that burned within every human soul. Now that spark had become a blazing beacon, illuminating the path to a future brighter than any could have imagined. As starships prepared to venture into the unknown, carrying crews of a dozen species working in perfect harmony, one thing became clear. The story of humanity and its place in the cosmos was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. The stars had been rewritten. Now it was time to explore the new story they told.